Hey, welcome back. I got a new project going in the shop now. It involves this gravity conveyor. This is something that I actually planned for before I even designed the building or anything. Was I want on this wall a saw table. So I'm always dealing with long pieces of steel for making stuff like the backhoe log splitter, all kinds of, I just make stuff. So dealing with 20 or 24 foot sticks of steel can be a real pain when you're trying to work on the floor. I have a little 3.5 inch high piece of metal, or sometimes I use 2x4s or 2x6s, set them down there, you put the saw on the floor, now you're working on the ground. It's really terrible, I hate it. You'll see here later how I'm doing it in the shop right now. I'm actually using the boom lift for end support for my sticks of metal. It's not working too bad, but again, it's just a pain in the butt. Whereas on this conveyor, everything will just roll real nice and easy, not have any trouble. I'm gonna set up my steel saw. I'm gonna set up for my wood saw. And I think I might even see what it'll look like to have the drill press on the end too. See how it goes. So I'm gonna get to work here, making some more pieces. You can see I already got 2 set up and ready to go. I'm gonna make a few more so I can have my saw and then 1 conveyor on each side so I can actually start using it as I finish the project. So get going. First thing I'm making here, these are some steel plugs. There you go, into the end of the square tubing. I'm going to tap them and then put them in the end and weld them in. And that'll let me actually bolt the whole thing together so I can take it apart and move it real easy. In case I decide I don't like it on that wall or whatever. Alright, next thing, you gotta take all these sharp corners off because they won't fit in the tube otherwise, because the tube's bent, so the inside of the corner is round, it's not square. So that's the next thing. This sander's a piece of junk, don't buy one. I only have it because ex-neighbor gave it to me. I would never buy this thing, it's awful, but it'll work for now. The next thing I need to know is how wide I need the section for the saw for the platform. And I may want to use the 45s. I cut a lot of 45s actually with this. So I'm going to turn the saw and get a piece of stock in here and basically measure from the end of the table to the foot. .22. So I'll give it 24. I can always make a new bar later, so it doesn't really matter that it's perfect today. So I clamped the saw down so I can set a stop. Now we're going to cut the feet, what makes the bottom leg, and the top that holds the conveyor. So I'm going to set up a stop for that. There, now I can get all these cut the same. I'm not cutting all of them because again I have to handle everything with this lift and it's a real pain, but I will do enough that I can get set up over there and start using it to finish it. So I need 3 more sections, so I'm going to cut 6 of these. Now you get to see what I've been hating and why we're doing this. I need to check this. I might create a long waste piece if I do this wrong, because I need some 5-foot sections too. Means I need a different bar to cut my last 3-footer out of before I move the stop. Now that I got all these tubes deburred, I can show you what's going on with the threaded plugs. Okay, so what I'm doing, I put this bolt in here just to, there you go. I know if the threads are good or bunged up, and then if I drop it while I'm putting in here, or let go, I don't lose it down the tube. I got a handle basically. Alright, that one fits a little too good that way, but this way, it fits tighter. So I'm going to put it in that way. And use my center punch to beat it down. So you can see that's down in the tube, recessed a little less than 1/4 inch probably. Get that bolt straight. Okay, so that one's ready to weld, so I'll just run a weld bead all the way around all 4 sides. And then you'll see later when I cut holes in the uprights, then I can just bolt through and it clamps right on and it holds real good. So I'm just going to get the rest of these plugs put in on the pieces that need plugs, and we'll get to welding. So I'm going to weld these now. I'm going to tack 3 corners, and then when I start the 4th one, I'll just run the bead, go all the way around each one, and I'll be ready to go. I'm using, of course, my ventilated welding helmet. These things are awesome. They are expensive, but I love them. And after seeing my dad deal with COPD, I don't want to get it. So yeah, I love this thing. Your helmet stays clear, it never fogs up, you can see real good, you always got fresh air, it's great. now turn them around through the other side. Ding ding. Alright, these are done. This is not a welding channel, so don't look at me for how to weld. There's plenty of really good channels for that. I don't clean them or anything. You don't really need to for what I'm doing, but they'll hold just fine. Next, I need to drill and tap 3 of the feet here. So they can, I'm just using bolts for my feet. They're adjustable, they're cheap, they're durable, they work great. After that, it'll be cutting verticals for the legs and drilling holes in there and then welding pieces together. These are the vertical supports. These are through holes, but different sizes on each side. So I'm just going to go all the way through with my starter drill, then come back with the clearance drill for the bolt, and then make a big hole with the step bit for clearance for the socket. The other thing to note here, the weld seam inside the tube I have to the side instead of the top or the bottom where I'm drilling, so it doesn't interfere with the bit. I've had those brake drill bits before, or if it's on the bottom, you can't through drill and get all the way through. It just doesn't work. It makes the bit wander, and it can break it there too. So I'm setting this up so I can put one vertical attached here and another one on this side. So I make my clearance holes opposite. This bit likes to grab and spin things, so I'm just setting up with the column of the drill already catching the workpiece, so it won't spin and it'll just lock up the drill instead of throwing this thing all over the shop. Don't breathe that smoke, it's not good for you. Alright, good clean clearance hole, bolt hole, 2 more like it. Alright, we can start putting this together now. I got my other bolt in for the foot already. Again, I really like these. You can adjust them wherever you want. They work pretty good. So this is the station where the saw is going to go. So I have a shorter cross member here. All the others are going to be 5 feet. This one's only going to be 2. So the next thing you might be asking, I'm gonna mark and drill these holes and bolt that in. I won't tap those, I'll just through drill them and bolt with a washer on the inside. Same with the center here and the end. Now there's going to be another 10 foot on this side, but there's nothing here to support that. I planned for that. What I'm doing, because these holes line up in the center of the square tubing, these holes are every 2 inches, then the next piece will fit here. There will be another hole right here. So I'm going to weld a small block on here in both places to support the next piece of track, make 2 more legs, and that track is done. Over here, same thing. I'm going to put a 5 foot section of track here, then another narrow piece like that. I don't know how wide yet. That's where my chop saw for my wood's going to go. I got a sliding compound saw that's going to go there. And then the last 15 feet will go on this side. And I haven't decided if maybe with that other 5, if I'm going to put the drill press maybe next, like somewhere right here. That might make good sense. I can always pull it out if I need more room. Otherwise, I think having the rollers is going to work good. These things are amazingly smooth. They better be, since they're brand new. So I'm going to start getting the things marked, weld on that other piece, get this thing mounted, and start figuring out exactly what I'm going to do to mount my saw. So the saw needs 3.5 inches. These are also 3.5, but I think it's going to be a little more to the top of the roller. I'm going to put a bar on here and measure down to this. And then I'm going to make a platform that the saw will sit on, but the saw is not going to be bolted in. I want to be able to move it, and to use the 45 I'd have to. I do plan to put a back rail on here at some point. I don't know if I'm going to worried about that today. Then you're going to say, Mike, you idiot, what's with all this space back here? This is going to be for storage shelving up here, so probably 2 or 3 feet worth. I'm going to take all the scrap plywood I have from cutting out the windows and making my sheeting inside the shop, and I'm going to make boxes that are going to mount here, so I'll have storage. Or I might just make plain shelves. That plywood's going to be a lot of work. Man, I'll just get 2x12s and make shelves, or that'd be real easy. Now we can get a bar and set it up so you can see how the saws are going to fit. Oh, that's nice. That's real nice. I think that's going to work good. The saw is definitely low, but I got a solution for that too. I never knew how nice it was to have 1/4 inch plywood until I got some, because there was some underlayment when I was working on my house earlier. It just didn't line up. Well, look at that. That's even the right size. That's perfect. Just almost touching the saw, but not quite. That's what I want. Another thing that I was thinking of last night, I realized I designed wrong. I had always planned on having this 5-foot section and having a metal saw and my wood saw. But the very next project I have coming up, I'm going to be cutting 2 pieces that are 10 feet and a bunch of 8-footers. So if I do that from here to that saw, that's going to fall right in that 8-foot range. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my plan a little bit, and I'm going to move the wood saw down a full section. So I'll go all the way a 10-foot section, and then I'll just put the 5 on the end of the wood saw as an outfeed for that. Because if I have something long, I can always have the long side on this way, and I'm always cutting the short piece off on the other side, whether it's the waist or the one I'm going to keep. The holes should still match up just fine. I'm using factory holes on here, so I won't have to change anything with this leg. I just have to add the next leg, and I can put the whole section on, and then I can do the wood saw. So I think that's going to be the plan, but I'll be able to cut pieces out right now with this table the way it is right now. Yeah, so I'm going to get my gluing done and then start cutting. So we'll actually get to see how this is going to work now. What you just saw me put together, this is going to be my stop. So that fits over the rail. These supports here keep it from hitting the tips of the conveyor rollers. Got the front end here. This is a different bolt than you saw me weld. Math error on my part. It was too short, so I redid it. The grease in there. Get me some washers. Grease these guys up too. Grease in between so they'll slip against each other. good. Nice and easy to move. That's what I want. So whenever I'm setting a piece in here, I set it, I can put it where I want. I got a good stop, which I'm gonna use now. Because now I need to cut more legs and feet and tops. Check this out, with my blade down, I can actually set my length. This is so much better than working on the floor or using the lift. This is great. It's done and pretty strong. I wasn't expecting this to need a lot of strength. I wasn't ever gonna put more than, you know, maybe 1,000 pounds on here all the way down, right? I mean, that's even really outrageous, right? It's 200 or 300 pound bar, I think, is the biggest I've ever dealt with. A 1x8 flat bar, 20 foot long, whatever that is. They're heavy, but this will have no trouble with it. I really like the plywood setup with the 2x4 hangers. It just fits on there real easy. It's all temporary. I can just take it down whenever I want. If maybe I get a different saw or have something else I want to set in here, I can make a new platform for whatever that is and just set it in here and use it for that. I found down here when I was doing the wood saw, of course this platform is higher than the other one, so I got a chunk of plywood in here. And then I still had to put a little spacer underneath these to get everything up to the right height, but this is just as good as the other one. The saw is just a little bit high on this one, but it's perfectly fine. That's kind of what you want, is to have it grab, at least for the wood. On the steel, moves real easy, one finger, no problems. I set up a pallet down there on the wall for a bumper right now, so I don't smash a hole in my wall if I try to move one of these down. I really like the stop system, and I can use it with either saw, or I can move it down to the other one, or say I need to do a piece of steel that's going to end somewhere here. Well, I can put the stop on here and just put in, you know, a piece of wood or something as a temporary to back it up. So that'll work real good. Got my stock on the rack down here. I was thinking I would put it down on the other end, but really that's going to be a pain to put the big bars down there, because then I have to move the skid steer and the backhoe anytime I want to put something there. Whereas this, when the steel truck comes, they can just back in, or if it's me with my own truck, just back in. Of course, I still have to get the backhoe out, pick the steel up, set it down on the ground, and then it can just get pushed right back in there. So it's a lot less screwing around to have it here, so we'll go with that. I don't think it's really going to get any weather or water or anything. It's not like a power wash out here or anything like that. So I'm real happy with how it came out. Time will tell if it's any good or not. And I want to get my shelves put up in the back, but I don't know when that's going to happen. This has already given me a ton more space in the shop, because I don't have the conveyors sitting around, I don't have the steel sitting around, and all this There's a bunch of stuff just off the floor and out of the way now. The wood saw had 2 full sheets of plywood on sawhorses connected to one side to take care of it. I had the metal saw over on my welding table, which now the welding table doesn't have to have a saw on top, so it can be just for welding, so that's great. So yeah, all in all, I think it worked out good. Glad I did it. The only thing that I would like different is if I could have gotten 18-inch or 12-inch conveyor instead of the 24, but it'll work all right. And the other thing is, with this particular saw, the back there really sticks out, so you can't actually put this thing like even with, you know, anywhere even towards the back of these rollers. I don't know if that's going to be a problem or not. I haven't put a fence up yet, but I would have to have a fence that sticks out quite a bit if I want a fence for this. But there are plenty of square holes on these for hooking stuff to it, so I could easily see just making a couple small pieces, like a piece of wood that's going to bolt down, maybe uses 2 holes and sticks out the right distance for a fence, just a couple of those along here if I really needed something like that. Although I think I'd put the fence on this one and leave this one open because I got my sliding gauge there. So, well, that's it. I like it. Thanks for watching.